Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a little comparison video for you today. I am going to be comparing the Archer and Olive Calliograph brush tip markers with some traditional Tombow markers. So these were in my subscription box that I just got a week or so ago, and I have a video for that unboxing. And this set of markers was in there. I believe they're planning to release more of these type of markers in the future, and so I just kind of wanted to compare them to a traditional Tombow if you are into brush markers at all for hand lettering or whatever. So this is the set of 5 that came with my sub box, and they are double-ended. So one has a really wide tip, like big brush on the end, on one end, and then on the other hand they have a finer tip. This is be more like the tip that's equivalent to like a Pentel sign or a Fudenosuke brush tip. And so I just first right off the top of, I want to say that I'm sorry for having to do a voiceover here. The audio got messed up on the actual video. But anyway, I want to show you kind of the difference between the tips here. On the Tombows, of course, there's a brush tip on one end, but the other end is more like a bullet tip, whereas the Archer and Olive markers have a brush tip on both ends. Now, I have a bunch of colors pulled out. These are ones that are as similar to the calligraphs as I could get. The thing about the calligraphs, I'm just showing here, they're just a little bit shorter. The marker barrel is actually just a little bit shorter than the Tombows, but it's not a noticeable difference. They're still very comfortable to write with, and very enjoyable to use. So I have this is an Archer and Olive journal here. I'm just going to do a little pen test because this is kind of the best way. And again, I couldn't find colors that were like an exact representation, but that's not really the point. It's really more about how they write, because I don't own all of the Tombows, so there's probably some out there that are closer matches, or these might be really unique colors from Archer and Olive. But one thing to note is, at least for right now, the Tombows, they have at least a number indicator on there so that you can know, which marker you're using. Just like the acrylographs, the calligraphs do not have any kind of marking. But it's my understanding that future ones that are coming out, I think they are going to start having at least names or numbers or barcodes or something on them to help identify them. So one of the things that I want to point out is the colors on each end of these dual brush markers are different also. So, and also here I'm just going to show kind of the difference between the brush tip side. The one on the Archer and Olive, the calligraph, is just a little bit shorter with a longer nib on the Tombow. So you could actually get a bigger, bolder line with the Tombows, but you can still get a really good bold line with the Archer and Olive version. So like I was saying, each one has 2 different colors on them. So whereas like the Tombow, it's the same color from end to end. So I'm just going to go through really quickly here and kind of just give you a pen test so you can kind of see the colors and, a fairly close Tombow equivalent. So I'm just gonna do a little squiggle here, and I'm having to fix my pen. This is something, I don't know if you can tell right here. I'm trying to show, this is one issue that I have already had with these pens, and just in full disclosure, I've already reached out to Archer and Olive, and they're supposed to be sending me a new set of pens, but I don't know if you can tell, if I can get my hand in the camera here, that whenever I'm using the brush tip and I write, the tip kind of pulls out from the pen casing. And I don't know if that's a normal thing for this pen, for how these markers work. The Tombows certainly don't do it, and it's kind of hard to tell, but you can kind of see that little ridge in there. And then if I push down on the tip, it slides right back in. So I've reached out to them. They're sending me a new set of markers, so I don't know if this is just a faulty thing with this particular set, or if the new set is going to have that. Stay tuned. I'll try to update on that. But Archer and Olive is great when you have a problem. Their customer service is excellent. They're quick to respond. They make things right. So I'm not worried about that. I just wanted to point that out. You'll see me kind of having to do that with a few of these pens. So here you can see this one end, the brush end is almost, it's more like a tan color. And then the fine tip side is almost more of a greenish color. I think it's supposed to be a neutral, but it has more of a green cast to me. So I'm trying to show you here that this is the tip that's, would be really similar to the Fudenosuke pen or I think it's the Pentel sign. And I'm going to pull out here my Tombow. I have a color that's pretty similar, but not exactly. It's, I think 993 or something like that. I don't have the pens in front of me, so sorry about that. But you can see I'm showing here that nib does not pull away from the pen casing. So it's just something to note. And then also you can get a really, really fat line with the Tombows, but you can see how wide that line can be with the Calligraphs as well. So I pulled out like a green color here. It's kind of similar, but obviously the one that's the Archer and Olive one is a lot lighter. The colors aren't really necessarily the point of this review. I just wanted to kind of show, like, if you have Tombows, you might have something that's very similar. So I know that there's sometimes, a rush to kind of rush out and get the newest thing. But here you can kind of see where I had to pull, where that pin nib was pulling away, and then I had to kind of push it back in there. But I'm just trying to do a review so you could decide if these markers, when they start releasing from Archer and Olive, are something that you'd be interested in. If you're just getting started with brush lettering, these are great markers to write with, especially because you have both options. So the big brush end is really good if you're, especially for like titles or writing out big words, and then you have the smaller end for finer details, or if you want to write like subtitles or just things that you need less space for. So you can see here this Tombow color happens to be pretty close, but I don't have anything that is kind of this pale blue. It's almost like a periwinkle color. So I have one that's kind of similar, but it's more on the purple side. And so, but again, I don't have it in that nib. It's just in the big brush from the Tombow side. So just kind of giving you the closest equivalents that I have. And again, I do not own all of the markers. And then here I'm just writing with what is the bullet tip area of the Tombow marker. So with the Calligraphs, with them doing it like this, it ends up that you basically, with the 5 markers, you end up with 10 different colors, because each end has a different color. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because in some ways I would like to have a color in both nib sizes. I don't know if that makes sense, but I can see why having the 2 colors is also good. You can work more with shading and that kind of stuff, having the 2 different colors. So anyway, I did have a Tombow that was a similar color for that blue, but not one for the fine tip side. It was, again, just a little bit darker. And then the next marker, this one, I'm a little confused about this marker also, because to me, both the big brush end and the finer brush, the fine tip one, they look almost identical. I don't see much of a difference at all between the 2 colors. And I don't know if that's, again, a faulty pen issue, or if that they're just only ever so slightly a different color. And then this one, you'll see me kind of playing with that marker with the Calligraph. The other issue that I've noticed with a couple of these markers is that the pen cap doesn't feel to be very secure. Like with Tombow, you really have to kind of click it down, but on some of the Calligraphs, they snap on really well, and then I have a couple markers where they seem really loose. So I don't know, again, if that's just a manufacturing issue with this one particular box or not. And I do want to say again, I did reach out to them, and they're making that right. I just wanted to get this video out there. So these are 2 colors, this lightest color, that I did not have anything similar to either of these colors. The closest I could get was kind of this goldenrod yellow, but you can see the Archer and Olive is much cream, it's much like peachier color, and the finer tip one has more of a like a peachy pink color to it. So I just don't have anything to match those colors, which is good because then now it just adds to all of my pens. I love pens. I collect a lot of pens. So I don't, I have a lot of pens. I'm just going to write here really quickly with one of these, the bold tip here. And I am not the best calligrapher or hand letterer. I'm still learning. I'm still working on it. So this is writing with the bold tip end, and then I will go ahead and write with the fine tip end. And you can see here I'm having to push that back down in there, which that, if that's an issue with the pen, the only thing that concerns me is having to constantly push down on the very tip, because then it will start fraying and then you lose those really fine lines. So then down here, the tips on the other end, I didn't have any issues with on the small side with them pulling out from the pen casing or anything like that. So one of the reasons that I really like these is because you can get a really wide variety of pen widths between these two ends of this one marker. So I really like that aspect of these markers. So I just wanted to show these markers and what they can do, and kind of just a comparison to Tombow, because I feel like that's the closest one. I do have other brush markers, but I feel like those are the closest. And then also to point out, they came in this amazing box, which again, this was in the subscription box, but it's in a box that has like a magnetic lid, and so it stores them flat and keeps them secure in there. And this is where you can kind of see, like, one of the other features I should mention that I really love about these markers is that the pen tips are clear. So instead of having to try to figure out which end is the brush tip, I've had some markers in the past where both of the tips I'd either end, the caps look exactly the same, so you're constantly trying to have to figure out which is the brush and which is the bullet tip. These are clear, so you can see exactly what you're doing, because I tend to not read the label when I'm grabbing it or whatever. So that's a feature that I really liked. And then the color is on the very end of the cap. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. They're both great markers. I just wanted to do this review since these calligraphs are just now releasing, and I'm sure that they'll be coming out in lots more of the unique Archer and Olive colors. So anyway, if you found this video helpful, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye bye.